Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Brian. I'm back. One second. There we go. I'm trying to shed some light on this situation. But there we go. Cool. Yeah. So I'm here. I'm back. Friday, I had a doctor appointment with my mama kitty, who you've all met, and you know, coo and sigh, and she enjoys the adulation, and had an ultrasound done, and uh, it's going right. It's trying to maintain that realism here that she is not going to be with us forever, and I'm just trying to start preparing myself for that. She's not in any danger right now, and as a matter of fact, they're sending stuff to the Midwest to have it tested for things like fungal infections. So I'm hoping that whatever has happened is going to be minor and will be correctable with some kind of medication. I'd rather take 5 minutes a day and shove a pill down her throat if that will make things better for her quality of life. So thank you all for coming today. Let's see. Not a lot of activity on the feed here the last couple days here, the last couple streams. So yeah, I do apologize for not being here Friday. I had planned on being here, but after dealing with the vet and making sure Mama Kitty was doing fine, it kind of took a little bit out of me. So I'm glad I could be here with y'all today. So hope your Tuesday's going well. It's not the first full. Yeah, it is the first full. One of the first full weeks back of the new year. So got some announcements. Hold on, let me pull that up. Where are they? So we have B-Sides San Diego. So B-Sides San Diego. There it is. All right. And boink. There. Oh, son of a bitch. Well, if it worked right, then, I wouldn't have to adjust my screen. So it's one of the joys of OBS. It will not automatically resize things. And so if you do more than one thing with your screen, then you end up running into issues. So this is going to happen on the 30th of March, 2024. Tickets are still available. You can go get bsides.simpletix.com. And there you go. You can go grab those if you really want to go grab a ticket to San Diego. It's going to be great. It's really going to be great. We're doing it at SDSU. I say we because I'm volunteering. I'm also sponsoring. So the BreakSec show. So your donations, your bits, your cheers, your everything that you post up here doesn't go into my pocket. It goes into a separate bank account. I don't do anything with it, and it's just sitting there, and it's for educational opportunities. It's for sponsorships and to help make B-Sides, which is a nonprofit, that much better. So if you're often worried about, hey, where's Brian doing with his money? Seems a little frivolous. He's always buying things. That comes out of my own pocket. So I know. I'm not doing it right. I didn't do it right when it was a nonprofit, when we had the InfoSec Education Foundation. I know all that money ended up going somewhere else. So to, education, Black Girls Hack, we gave, scholarship to them. We supported our good friends at Black Lodge Research up in Seattle as a nonprofit as well. I should be a little more, tight-fisted with our money, but I just tend to give it away. So, to good organizations and to good people. So that, and then there was, is that it? No. That's my solar output for today. We had some issues with that. Pancakes Con. So. This came through Ginger Hacks, Tom on our Slack, on the BreakSec Slack, announced PancakeCon 5. I think they haven't changed their icon yet. I mean, I think they just announced this January 23rd. So yeah, just today. So they haven't had a chance to update their logo yet, but they will. The great thing about PancakeCon, it's ran by Hacks for Pancakes. They have been running this since the pandemic time and are continuing it. And it's really, really well run. It's a virtual only conference. It is, they're looking for volunteers, they're looking for villages. There's a CFP here. I will post this up in chat. They also are going to be streaming this on YouTube, on their YouTube channel. So I'm trying to give them big props for that. Let me see. Pancakes says youtube.com. See Pancake Con. I think that's what NERP. Okay, one second. Let me find that. So I asked Tom about that this morning. Let me go see Ginger Hacks. Where did I say? Him and I were talking about that this morning because I had reached out and asked if there was anything that I could do to help out, or if I could offer up our system here, our streaming. And where is it? Here it is. Yes. Oh, PancakesCon. Okay, so there's that. This is where all the talks from previous years have occurred. Here's here's Hacks for Pancakes. You can listen to their introduction to PancakesCon, and let me add that here. But you can see all the talks that they've given over the years. Adrian Sanabria, you've got Philip Wiley, Michael Taggart, MT Taggart. Shout out to Taggart. Shout out to MT Taggart. Oh, interesting. Okay. So yeah, you can see the playlists from 2020, 2021, 2022. 2023 is up here obviously as well, I would imagine. So they've got PancakesCon 4. They just don't have a screen playlist for that. So you can go and check out, let's see something. Oh, there's Hacks for Pancakes. Yeah, so you've got Andrew Lemon, John Strand, Dave Weinstein. Wow, Dave Weinstein. Wow. Robert M. Lee, Dr. Catherine J. Ellman, who we've had on the show, talking about her book she just wrote. So yeah, there's a lot of folks on here from PancakeSCon 3. You can go check. Oh, Randy Parkman. Okay, cool. Very cool. Very nice. Okay. So yeah, go check them out. Tickets are obviously available. They're looking for speakers. This is one of those cons where if you got to talk, you can do a talk. You don't have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be, somebody who is a con goer who professionally con goes and speaks at every conference out there. They want you to come and talk about anything you want to come and talk about. So go check that out and grab a ticket. And yeah, it'll be from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Central U.S. time, and the CFP closes on 18 Feb. So get yourself out there and get that done. And maybe we'll see if we can get Hacks on to talk about PancakeSCon 5, and Tom and a couple of other folks who help organize that, because it's hard enough to organize a physical conference. It's just as difficult, if not more, to do a virtual conference. So So yeah, go check that out. What was the other thing I wanted to talk about? Let me see. This weekend we have Accidental CISO coming on. Twitter.com. Accidental CISO is going to come on. I know for some of you who are like, hey, Brian doesn't do any more talks. Oh, Accidental CISO is no longer on Twitter. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Going to come on and talk about, years of being in a CISO and being in a senior security position, DevOps, and all that. So hope you come and join us and hang out and listen to what we're doing here. So we'll also have it on YouTube as a VOD. It'll be on Twitch as a VOD as well, and we'll be taking questions from the audience, Miss Berlin, Mr. Betcher, and myself. So you can come enjoy us and hang out. So, all right. So, I found this on Reddit. This is not the mother of all breaches. Where was that? I have it on. Thank God I posted a bunch of this stuff up to our Twitch or our Slack. So here it is. Copy link. I'll post this up into our Discord as well. Our Discord's been a little silent recently. I do apologize if you're in there. It's something I had to deal with the Slack when it first started, was trying to keep content running regularly. And so I found this article, I think, on Reddit, and I found it interesting. So the CIA chief, so this is the director, Gina Haspel. Apologies to the CIA chief. I know you're watching or listening. I do apologize. Please come on the show, and we can do better at pronouncing your name. Hey Walt, have you done the HPCO on crack story? No, but I will. I didn't expect anybody to actually take requests, but I'd read this story a week ago and thought it was pretty funny. So let me grab that one, and I will go back to the CEO. So the director of the CIA has said, spent much of her career overseas. She wants more CIA officers to do the same, which you would think makes sense because primarily, for those of you who are not in the know, CIA is supposed to be oh, this is not go well. The CIA is predominantly foreign intelligence service, whereas the FBI and those are more based in the U.S. So she had a public speech. She became head of the spy agency at some point in the near past. She said her goal is to increase the number of officers stationed overseas. That's where our mission as a foreign intelligence agency lies. So there you go. But she said this hasn't been easy because of the challenges to protect identities of spies. Because social media, right? You grow up, you put all your shit on the TikToks and the Instagrams, and it's hard for you to go back once all of that information is there. And she said Jonah Mendez, who used to be the chief of disguise at the CIA. What an interesting title. What an interesting title. The chief of disguise. Is that a... See, my thought is somebody walking around with a big box with the old school sunglasses, or the glasses and the fake nose and the little broom mustache things. This is pretty funny. So apparently Jonah Mendez has a book coming out called The Moscow Rules, where she and her husband, fellow CIA officer Tony, did during the Soviet era. So, okay, let me... Interesting. So it's a Hatchet book group. So there's the book, Moscow Rules. I don't get any kind of kickback for that, so you feel free to like it or not like it. It looks like it's in an audiobook. You can also get it in an audiobook format, maybe via Audible or someplace else. Yeah, so it's available on Public Affairs or a website about that. Yeah, it looks like you can get it from Audible. Yeah, Audible, Kobo, Libro, FM. Yeah, so anywho, they said they would de-Americanize us. And this is something I've always thought of when I was traveling in the East Coast. There's some good YouTube videos she did reviewing discussion. Oh, for discussing that. What I don't think a lot of us think about our mannerisms or what have you when we're. That's okay, Age. It's cool. Yeah, Walt. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you have the link to those, Walt, send them on DM to me, or you can post them up here in the chat, and we'll go. Maybe we'll go and take a look if I can get the audio and everything to decrapify or what have you. De-Americanize us. So one of the things that I did not realize is that it's hard for Americans to blend in with other cultures. Europeans or what have you. I mean, there are some Americans that don't try. I mean, I have been on cruises in, Costa, I think we did in 2012. There's always somebody on the ship with an American flag shirt on, or an American flag hat, or somebody wearing camo. I don't know why. And so, Chris Sandwich. So apparently we have a certain gait to our walk that feels sloppy, slouchy. We have that in our demeanor on the street. It was funny. I was actually at my standing desk. So this is my normal desk. I'm standing. Yeah, Merca, exactly, MC25. Yeah. And welcome, MC. We apparently lean on things. We apparently have one foot standing out of one front of the other. So, we stand in such a way that it identifies us as American. And I find that interesting because before we even open our mouths, and you're visiting a place, you're like, oh. I mean, and you can even do that in America. You can always tell when we were in New York last year, the New Yorkers were not like, oh, look, big building, oh. I had to catch myself from not doing that. And I'd often heard from other folks that we tend to smile too much when we're in Europe. Europeans generally don't smile as much as Americans do, and I don't know if it's why we're trying to be friendly. We do that to your orangutans and the monkeys, and it's a sign of aggression, from what I understand. But yeah, so they said you have to be de-Americanized. They eat differently than we do. We don't shuffle that fork back and forth, and I don't shuffle the fork back and forth. But the other thing is the wedding rings, right? My wedding ring. I moved it over to my right hand for a few years because I had lost enough weight that it kept sliding off of my left ring finger, which is where typically countries like, let me see, where is it? Here we go. So how Europeans wear wedding rings and how it says about them. So if you're in the orange countries, you tend to wear it on your right hand. If you're in the green, you tend to wear it on your left hand. And then like Spain and the Netherlands, they don't have a preference, right? And from what I've also found out in America, if you wear it on your right hand, you're a widower. So I didn't, that may be why my wife was against me wearing it on my right hand. But my point was, if I wear it on my left, my finger, it'll fall off my finger. So I was, wearing it on my right. And maybe that's why she didn't want me doing that, because it was, I don't know, something for, all the single ladies out there or something. So yeah, it was just interesting to see this infographic here about all, which countries wear on which, and the subtleties of that, right? And I think somebody posted in our Slack channel that if you watch, what did he say? True Detective Night Country. There was a victim they identified as Russian because the wedding ring was on the right hand. Who knew? Okay, so this is a wired YouTube channel. So if you don't have YouTube Premium, there may be commercials or maybe ads. I don't know. But interesting. The former CIA chief of disguise breaks down Cold War spy gadgets. Okay, very cool. Yeah, so Walt's link there is what I'm seeing here right now, just for trust and safety purposes here. During the Cold War, surveillance was most difficult kind of surveillance. Moscow had its own set of rules since it was a difficult place to work. The former CIA chief of disguise talks about some of the tactics, gadgets, and disguises operatives used during the Cold War. And of course, there's the Spy Museum. I actually wanted to go see that when we were in Washington, D.C. the last time, but we didn't have time to go do that. I would have loved to have gone to the Spy Museum and checked that out, just to look at all the different and varied artifacts that they have in the world. So, yeah. There were no other rules except Moscow rules because it was such a difficult place for us to work. Okay, Jana Mendez. Okay. Oh, pretty cool. All right, so it's a 12-minute video. If you want to go check that out. Worked for the Office of Technical Services. Cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see him over here. Here's another one breaking down Cold War spies. Former CIA chief answers spy questions from Twitter. So these are all on Wired. So that's pretty sweet. You went through the lobby. Oh man, yeah. I would be okay going back to Washington D.C. because I didn't do a lot of the museums, but it would be nice to go back and maybe catch some of those areas. But so, if you're trying to blend into, and this is an OSINT thing, right? So this is, open source intelligence. By viewing somebody, you can go, oh, okay, are they local? Are they, is it 60 degrees outside and they're wearing shorts and a t-shirt versus everyone else wearing slacks? That was the one thing that bothered me when I went to Europe. It was like, it's going to be warm, but I know that they don't necessarily always wear shorts there. And so like when we were in the Netherlands, it wasn't cold. So I'm like, wearing shorts, and it's just weird. It's like you stick out like a sore thumb, and that makes you a target, right? If you ever did anti-terrorism training or anything like that in the military, that was one of the things they were like, oh, you should always try to blend in. Well, the 30-year-old anti-terrorism training about learning how to blend in has changed quite a bit in this year, and for the previous, former disguise chief has talked about digital footprints from a young age that can be checked years later, school records, work history, phone numbers, addresses. Social media and open source means looking into people's backgrounds. If you don't have a consistent background, it's going to be difficult to hide your affiliation. Right now, if you don't have a social media presence, that's considered suspicious now. So if a name searched and nothing turned up online, that would raise suspicions. It's like not having anything. It's just really weird. So yeah, Mary says, an undercover officer spent most of her career abroad. If I was to Google an officer, I'm sure something would come up, whether officer being a CIA officer, college degree or whatever. I don't think nothing would come up. Everyone has some sort of online presence. So, and ideally, the new CIA director wants people in other countries of interest to the CIA, being the big four: Iran, China, Russia, North Korea. But it's actually hard to send officers. The latter two countries pose daunting challenges since the U.S. doesn't have an embassy in either, and few private citizens live there. So yeah, you're not just gonna walk up to Iran or North Korea and go, "Hi, I'm just here on, I'm just gonna go see the sunsets on Tehran Beach," or whatever. Tehran doesn't have a beach. It's all kind of sandy, I think, probably, but you know what I mean. It's also not on my top 100 places I'd like to go on the earth either. So, but yeah, it's just, Bellingcat, of course, is always a good place to go. Go check out their Discord if you haven't had a chance. It's interesting. So, yeah, it's a job of human beings. You have to find people who have the access. Then you have to do what I think is the toughest job in the world. You have to convince them to give you that information. And it was just interesting to read this article and go, oh yeah, we all have mannerisms that, you read Arthur Conan, Sherlock Holmes, and he's, oh yes, I can tell that you're a writer of some note because your your sleeve back in the day was like, worn down or what have you. And he was able to pick up on those things, just like somebody who's well versed in American, mannerisms can. Oh, okay, that's a local. That's somebody who's been here a while. That's somebody who's obviously a tourist. You can tell by the MAGA hat they're wearing, that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so that was an interesting article. And then of course the one about the wedding ring stuff. I had to go find out what that was all about. So there's some audio here if you wanted to listen to the full article about this. But they yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing. So, and that's just my ignorance on the thing. And it goes into a little bit about the Egyptian myth, the Ouroboros, and the traditions and notions. And they said it's only become till the second half of the 19th century when we were wearing them on the right side. So there's male wedding rings, were used elsewhere, like on their middle finger for ladies, or the other rings. So. Yeah, so 19th century Parisian couple wearing their wedding rings on the left hand is still the custom in France. So yeah. So there's your today I learned if you didn't already know it. So I've done my best to have the smallest digital footprint I can, and it's professionally killing me. I could imagine Age of Music. Lady P has something similar. I mean, Lady P has created a whole persona outside of her normal self to hide that. And I would imagine that, if professionally you could, create something on the side that would allow you to do that. But, you've got people that like DJ Deadmau5 or whatever like that, where they have their persona and then they have their other side, like Accidental CISO. When we were talking with Accidental CISO said, hey, I could be on as my persona or I could be on as my real self. People won't know my real self, so it would make more sense for me to use the Accidental CISO avatar and what have you. And I was like, whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you want to come in as yourself or you want to come in as Accidental CISO, then that's great, And Swift on Security. For those of you who follow Swift on Security for years, well, I wouldn't say years. Those who knew Swift on Security knew who Swift on Security was, and now I believe the handle has changed hands, but there's still people out there who don't know exactly. So there's still some anonymity to the Swift on Security Twitter handle. Those people who are in the know, the cool kids of infosec, probably know who that person is. But yeah, it's just how private you want to be, and you have to, and like age. It's weights and balances here, checks and balances. You're gonna have to give up something, or we've had I think we talked about streamers, very high profile Twitch streamers that were doxxed by something as simple as a picture in their bathroom, because somebody was able to take that picture and go, okay, I know because of other information, because I followed this person, they live in Florida, and we know that they live somewhere near the Everglades. And then, okay, so we're looking for this picture of this very unique bathroom on realtor sites. And then it's like, now you know where that person lives and you can dox them. I think that person was Dream or something. Dream. Because I think I remember us talking about it on the audio podcast. Yeah, so yeah, I think this was it. Yeah, so yeah, they'd been doxxed online. This person had a mask and everything. Yeah, so it happens. So, and like they said, they got to hold an older picture of the music artist. So picture from way back in the day is now being used to dox who this person was. So. I'll hold on to that one. All right, so for Walt, the CEO of HP is on crack. He evokes James Bond style hack via ink cartridges, and our long-term objective is to make printing a subscription. So, for whatever reason, Enrique Lorez addressed the company's controversial practice of bricking printers when users load them with third-party ink. And he spoke on CNBC TV, said, "We've seen you can embed viruses in the cartridges." They're trying to go the IP route, saying that, using a third-party cartridge can potentially open you up to, some kind of issue. Dynamic security stops HP printers from functioning if an ink cartridge without an HP chip or electronic circuitry is installed. They've actually updated firmware in printers to block ink cartridges from printing. So they have a lawsuit in place right now. Renee Robinson, all these folks are on behalf of looks like a class action. Yeah, class action against HP, which is based out of Delaware. Weird. And so, wow. Okay, so it's, and other states, Protection Fraud Acts, Unfair Trade, Antitrust, Uniform State Antitrust. So pretty much every state in the union with an antitrust or deceptive trade practice is getting online here. Let's see. It's brought against HP for requiring customers who'd purchased brands of printers to use only HP branded cartridges rather than purchasing replacements from competitors. So yeah, anti-competitive, antitrust practices. They accomplished this through firmware updates and distributed electronically to all registered users of printers, which effectively disabled the printer if the user installed a replacement ink. So not only did, if you tried to put in a third party, it bricked your printer. They used a software update to create a monopoly in the aftermarket for replacement cartridges, permitting it to raise prices without fear of being undercut by competitors. That's pretty fair. We've seen that for years. It's only until we've just seen like companies like Epson are advertising, their ink wells, so you can actually just keep, I never bought ink. I'd just buy a new printer for half the price. You know what, MC? You're absolutely right. I've seen that, and it was like, the memes out there about, printer cartridges. But yeah, at one time you could buy, I remember buying an inkjet printer from HP and then realizing that I could use it until the replacement cartridges. So, what was it? Black was a cartridge all by itself, and then the cyan, yellow, and blue were all by, all one cartridge. And when the blue ran out, you had to dump the other two so that you could, yeah. That's why I went to a Brother printer, which had individual cartridges, which, worked a little better. But yeah, it was like half or 3/4 of the cost of the printer to, buy new ink cartridges for the thing. And it was like, Jesus. They, let me see. Companies, bug bounty program tasked researchers from BugCrowd to determine if it's possible to use an ink cartridge as a cyber threat. That would be an interesting supply chain issue. I'm imagining, a drop shipper or somebody like that who's creating, not counterfeit, but creating an alternative cartridge to the HP could communicate with the printer in an entryway for attack. It could be. So they're trying to use that use case as the reason why you should only use HP based cartridges. For a $500 color laser printer, that would be a bit expensive. I could definitely see that. It was one reason why I went to like an enterprise level printer for home that would allow me to have separate cartridges for toner, and you would go to the HP, what was it, the HP, was it 5P or something back in the day? Yeah, that was a nice laser printer that lasted a long time. I think that's why they're trying to say that. HP acknowledges there's no evidence of a hack occurring in the wild, so it's just a proof of concept. But based on that, they don't want that to happen. So that's why they're trying to use that as a way of saying, look, we don't want to introduce that kind of risk to our customers, which sounds good. Maybe just the fact that you went and did it yourself and showed that it could be possible makes people want to then go and do that. Because There's nothing stopping somebody from buying a legit HP cartridge with a microcontroller or whatever the bits is on there. They don't even have to create a counterfeit cartridge. They could just use the existing cartridges and hack those. Hey, Lady P, don't worry about it. You've got stuff going on. It's okay, Lady P. I'm glad you're here. It's, I had to get on because we're gonna go for dinner at 4:15, or about 45 minutes. So, yeah. Oh, yeah. We were sorry, Lady P. Yeah, we were only in the best sense. Only in the best sense, Lady P. We were talking about spies in the CIA, and having that anonymity, and the fact that the CIA is having trouble finding agents that doesn't already have a social media footprint. So they're talking about where is it? I gotta put that back on. Where is it? Yeah, it was all in the best. Printer ink's more expensive than drugs. I will say that, yeah, the printer ink for our printer in my wife's office, which took me forever to get it moved in there because I don't print anymore. Yeah, it's a little expensive. I won't lie. It's more expensive than my Ritalin. So yeah. So they did find a theoretical way for the cartridges to be hacked, and it is a legit reason. So it's reasonable to issue the bug bounty, but a solution was announced before it showed there could be a threat. So HP added ink cartridge security training to its bug bounty in 2020, and then the above research was released in 2022. So they'd already had a hacked security cartridge, ink cartridge in their threat model, because it could be that they already knew the risks implementing the technology, and they wanted to highlight those risks internally in case something did go wrong. The fact that they had that as a threat in 2020, and then the research released in 2022, they don't have to pay out for bounties for that, right? Or somebody did, right? Lady P, you're right. You have a social identity, many of them. And we talked about Dream, who was a Twitch streamer that got doxxed by somebody based on like a bathroom picture of their bathroom. It had a very unique setup. But I talked about you having an avatar. I talked about Accidental CISO, who I mentioned we were going to have on this Sunday to talk about Sec DevOps and the personas that have been created to try to create that anonymity, to create that separation. So whose job is it to make HP printers secure? That's another interesting question, right? Is it HP's job to do so? I would say, because it's weird, right? I have a very limited online presence. It's harder for me to convince potential hiring companies I'm not a threat actor plant. Oh, how so, Age? That's interesting. The interesting thing about the HP printers is like, and we've seen this from the get-go with Microsoft. It's like Microsoft wants you to apply patches, but people won't apply patches. Then they get owned, and the person bitches to Microsoft that they got owned, and Microsoft's like, we give you the ability to patch, but you don't patch. And then Microsoft makes it a requirement to patch, especially in Windows 11. It's like, here, apply these patches. You're gonna get you're gonna get annoyed by us, constantly asking you to do your updates, do your updates. And then the people complain, oh, Microsoft is forcing us to do patches. It's like, because you fuckers wouldn't do the patches anyway, right? So HP and Microsoft and the Googles and the people who have regular software updates, they're in a no-win situation. But for them, from a liability point of view, it feels like they have to go the route of, we're going to protect you from yourselves. And right, Lady P, yes, it is HP's job to make their printer as secure as possible. But they still give people the option to do stupid shit with their printers. Right, right. And Lady P, ooh, I'm not advocating for the printer cartridges. That's hot garbage. They're actually in a lawsuit right now for anti-competitive and antitrust requirements for that. I completely agree that way. They should, to be honest, the only reason they put those chips in there, I haven't figured that out yet. It's either to do something like, oh, yeah, we've noticed your printer ink is low because we've queried the printer cartridge and it says it's been printed 5,000 times and it could be done. There's a lot of things that go on there, right? Yeah, it's just monitoring ink levels, and or it could be like Amazon had those things where you could press the button, it would automatically reorder stuff for you at one time. I think it might be something similar to that. The printer ink cartridge says, hey, I've only got like 15% in me. Hey, printer, you might want to order some new toner cartridge. And then there might be a service there where, my HP's like, sends you an email. Hey, your toner cartridge just told me it's at 15% ink. Maybe you should buy some. And here's a $5 coupon off of $800 worth of ink or what have you. So I would like to drown their board in their own printer ink, but no one asked me. Oh, well, Lady P, I think if somebody did ask you, that would be soliciting a hitman, which I believe is some kind of felony. And, not to mention Guardians of the Galaxy, but that's murder. That's one of the most severe laws that we have. But what if they were asking for it? That kind of thing. Default printer creds, right? Yeah. Age of Music. That's another thing. It's like there's only so much you can do. Definitely, require them to, change their printer creds, but a lot of consumer-related devices, I don't know why they allow for default creds. We see that a lot, right? On all kinds of stuff. UPnP, right? And the other thing that bothers me, and I think I've mentioned this on the stream before, it's like you give people the options to make things insecure in the most easy way possible through the UI. Now, maybe things like FTP or UPnP should not be. Yeah, if you make it too complicated, people get mad. There's just some things maybe it should have a few hurdles to get through. I want to enable, FTP to be able to come into my network. No, but maybe Joe Bob Billy wants to have that capability. I don't know, but maybe there's a few warnings or a few, if you check this box, we're gonna flag this. You have an insecure configuration, and that would get sent back to HP and telemetry or something like that, where it's like, Joe Bob Billy's enabled FTP, or certain unsafe maybe you have a box that says enable unsafe configuration panel or something like that, and it's like maybe you have a panel that's on your router that says this is all the insecure shit that's going to get you owned, but you can enable it if you want to. And I don't know. It definitely is a UX thing that I would love to delve deeper into with folks that design those kinds of UIs. For enterprise level stuff, I would hope that the IT people would know better, and you could have something like that where you could definitely have like hey, this panel is full of the insecure shit that you shouldn't enable. By clicking this, you might void your warranty. You might cause numerous hours of incident response or something. I don't know. But yeah, the real focus is protecting IP. Every printer cartridge that you buy from Joe Bob Billy's printer supply company is one less $150 cartridge you're buying from HP, which is eating into the profits. And that's pretty much what this is. It's not protecting IP so much. But yeah. Boy, wouldn't that suck if you had, you wanted to print something and you had to buy a subscription to your printer? Printing, yeah, HP wants printing to be a subscription. Yeah. Pushing monthly ink subscription programs over the years. Noted the subscription models like Instant Ink can bring 20% uplift on the value of that customer because you're locking that person in. Yeah, that's shitty. I read the terms and conditions mostly because I want to find the entry that gets me some free money, but I feel like I'm maybe one of a dozen people who actually do. Yeah, nobody reads the terms and conditions. Yeah. And I think some companies actually hope that that's the case, because a lot of times when you apply and you don't read the terms and conditions and you want to go and hit the company up for those things, you have to go through things like arbitration instead of actually being able to call a lawsuit up from those. So it's like, well, we can't actually go to court and be sued. We're going to go through arbitration, and we get to choose who's the arbiter. Yeah, I buy Brother printers. The Brother printers actually were really nice. Plus you get the all-in-one systems, which were actually really good. I liked the Brother printers. Having worked for HP for a short amount of time back from 2007 to 2009 when EDS was bought by HP. I told myself I was never going to use another HP device again, and unfortunately I'm sitting here with a laptop from HP that I use for work, and it works just about as well as I expected it to with Windows 10. It won't even run Windows 11. So, but anyway, that was an interesting little bit that I saw today. I actually saw it a couple days ago and thought it was funny, and then somebody posted it in our Slack. So thank you so much for that. Largest breach to date. Okay, so hold on to your your girdles and whatever. 26 billion records have been leaked. Oh my God. Thanks Cyber News for that. What Vilius doesn't realize is this is probably a bunch of other breaches put into some kind of Voltron level mega breach list. 26 billion records contain LinkedIn, Twitter, Weibo, Tencent, and other platform user data. Almost certainly the largest ever discovered. I would say it's almost the largest ever discovered that somebody has collated and put together. So somebody's taken the additional time and effort to collate all of the WeChats and all of the Weibos and Tencents and Ashley Madison stuff together into one big pile of shite. Lady P, yeah. The best of data breaches, a retrospective. Yeah, exactly. Hey, Asteron RL, thank you for joining and coming and hanging out with us today. Good stuff. So one thing I will say is interesting about this is you're going to be able to do things like cross-reference shared accounts. So I've seen this at places that I may or may not work at in the past and in present. When you're dealing with things like bug bounty, you'll get a researcher who will file a bug and say, hey, this dark website has this list of credentials and some of your people are on it. And, the way I can tell is because, here's their email address that they use their work email for all kinds of shit. And then it's like, well, they use this password. It's like, oh crap. Okay. Well, now we got to change the password. But what they do for these large amounts of things, let's say you have, Joe Bob Billy at, CIA.gov. Let's say Joe Bob Billy's not the smartest intelligence agent in the world and uses Joe Bob Billy at CIA.gov. And his password is, I love me some of that CIA 1111 asterisk. All upper and lowercase, number, special, etc., etc. Let's say he uses I love me some CIA 11111 asterisk on 15 other websites. You can go through those 26 billion records and go, oh, I see Joe Bob Billy at CIA.gov and his password is there. And then the next thing you can do is go, well, I'm going to go search for, I love me some CIA 11111 asterisk. Oh, here's 15 other records that have a different email address, like, go49ers at, hotmail.com. with the same password. There's some correlation there, right? You may not use the same email address across everywhere, but password reuse makes it possible for you to go, okay, I know Joe Bob Billy at CIA.gov is also go49ers at hotmail.com. winter 24, winter 2014, or summer. Yeah, change. Yeah, they'll search across the same passwords, especially if password reuse is a thing, which we know a lot of people do. So you can gather your OSINT that way, and you can pivot that way. So if maybe CIA.gov, or maybe maybe he's on Weibo as well. Maybe Joe Bob Billy's also on Weibo, or maybe he's on LinkedIn. Maybe he has the same security password or security questions or something for these one-factor auth sites that don't have two-factor. Maybe he doesn't have two-factor on one site. Maybe he does have two-factor on another. You can use that to their advantage. Hey, Digital Warhead. Hey. Oh, that was the other one I was trying to remember. B-Side Seattle. Thank you for joining Digital Warhead. B-Sides Seattle is coming up at the end of April. So you come to B-Side San Diego, and then you fly to B-Side Seattle a month later. I was trying to remember the third conference. Thank you for showing up, Digital Warhead. You reminded me of what I wanted to talk about. Walt was here as well, but I was in a different headspace then. So it's at Building 92, Microsoft campus. Really lovely venue. If you've ever been to B-Sides Seattle, it's an awesome place. So yeah, go check that one out too. That one's on April 2024. So and it's a one-day event as well. I thought they were going to do 2 this year because that's what they were talking about last year, but maybe they just don't have the time and effort to be able to do so. Plus, they have to have enough people who work at Microsoft, or you have to reserve it for both days, that kind of thing. No, Digital Warhead, sadly, end of April, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do so. I had it on my plans to do, but I think we're going to end up having to go to Texas at some point, and I don't want to commit to something just yet. Checking company emails against HIBP, downloading relevant dumps from the forums, add to directory. Yep. Yeah, you can definitely do that. I mean, these password dumps are also a good way of adding to, bad password lists. I'm not saying you add 26 billion records. There's going to be some overlap there. You're going to have, there's just going to be some accounts that you just don't give a shit about. I mean, I will tell you right now, I reuse passwords, but they're on things like forum websites where I don't actually have my real name, and I've gone there like once or twice. No personal information is ever stored there because I don't offer up any personal information. April is a busy month. Oh, Astron, thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Fantastic. As I mentioned, Astron, at the beginning of the stream here, BreakSec, the Twitch stream, and our Education Foundation is sponsoring B-Side San Diego this year. So we're going to be sponsoring, and I'm volunteering there. So great little nonprofit there that is putting on the America's Finest B-Sides is what they call themselves, after America's Finest City, which is San Diego's logo nickname. But anyway, so I got off on a tangent. What were we talking about? Let's see. Oh, passwords. So mother of all breaches until the next one. So 26 billion records, 3,800 folders, each folder responding to a separate data breach. So that doesn't mean the difference between two automatically translates to previous unpublished data. Billions of new records point to a very high probability. Moab has never seen before. The Moab contains never before seen information. So you can either download 26 billion records, 3,800 folders. So some people just like the data hoard, right? Because you never know when, something's going to align where, your target, whether it be a company or a person, is going to do something stupid and end up in yet another data breach. So you're kind of playing the long game, right? You managed to stay afloat down there. I have pictures of my backyard that some of you have seen. that I posted up. We did have quite a bit of rain in the area, and the problem with San Diego weather is it gets very quickly. Let me see. Can I open this in a browser window? Let me see. Copy link to file. Let me see if I can open this up. There we go. So that's my backyard. It's currently being worked on. That's where my outdoor kitchen is going to be, up here in this upper right-hand corner. This is where the grill is. They just put the concrete forms in. This is where my stand-in grill is. That's not my real one. That's one we got for bat. But that's these are where the drainage is for the pools are. And it was in the middle of a downpour, so I didn't go outside. But in places there was probably 1 to 2 foot of about a foot of rain standing, and it's actually still standing there this morning when the pool guy showed up and used a sump pump to hook up the and drain the water. So there's enough water in the pool. I think we probably could have filled the pool with that. So yeah, I had it's just a piece of shit grill. So yeah, we're running gas lines and electric lines out to the where this is where the grill's going to be. You can't see me moving my mouse there. So yeah, it's up in the upper left corner. I should have gotten a sump pump or something like that to make this happen and not make it less lakey. But yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, so thankfully it's supposed to dry out. We're supposed to get back up to the 70s this weekend. So hopefully our winter is over. So yeah. Yeah, extremely dangerous threat actors could leverage aggregated data for a wide range of attacks. So here's the list. They have Tencent, Weibo, MySpace. The fuck? Okay. Well, now I'm scared because they now have my MySpace account again. Adult Friend Finder, Zynga, Luxottica, Evite. Wow, there's a lot of stuff in here. So we've got rain again tomorrow. Oh, yeah, at least in NorCal. Yeah, I'd imagine. But we need that in Tahoe, so the ice pack and everything has got to be hooked up there. Tencent. So Tencent's probably a lot of folks from China, and so is Weibo. So may not always be applicable for everybody, but yeah, if you've got Twitter, change your passwords, change it to something else. LinkedIn, some of this stuff is old. If that's the LinkedIn I think that was like 2017, 2018. So wasn't the MFP breach from like 2014? You might be right. MFP, where is it? Oh, MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal breach. It was hacked under Urban Armor 2018, looks like. Yeah, February 2018. So yeah, this is going on about 5 years. So yeah, some people just like to data hoard and they want to collate all this stuff together into one massive bit so that they can, do things like, every time you see a news article about, most frequently used passwords, you're going to see that stuff. So Shitter, yeah, or Zitter, yeah. I still use Twitter, so it's fine. Yeah. So astounding large number of records. Tencent QQ instant messaging app. Yeah, there's various records of government organizations. So yeah, Joe Bob Billy at CIA.gov. Go change all your passwords on Baidu and VK and Canva. Canva, that one would actually be worrisome if I wasn't using Canva back in the day. I use OAuth flows for a lot of stuff now, so I don't have passwords for those things. I just log in with my email account. It's pronounced with the shitter. Yes, Lady P. Yes, Lady P. It definitely is the shitter. Yeah. So they say 3.2 billion records, only 12% of the mass. Yeah, so 3.2 billion of those records are not, are brand new. So now with 12% more awesomeness or less awesomeness. But yeah, it's just something to think about whenever you come up with, yet another password breach. Some of the stuff is going to be left over. Some people like to do it for clout. If you post up on a dark web forum, hey, I've got 36 billion records. they've probably seen enough of it, but the media loves this shit, right? That's why they're posting this. It was a slow news day, and somebody said, "Hey, wow, mother of all, he needed the clicks. So congratulations, Vilius, you got me. I clicked on your fucking link. I'm driving traffic to it. My bad." I haven't looked into the breach. Has this data been publicly posted? If it isn't, it's like they said, it's only about 12% new stuff. So depends on what was added. You'd have to probably go and compare to everything else that's in there. But yeah, they say duplicates are also highly likely. Sensitive data contains far more than just credentials. Most of the data is exposed as sensitive and therefore valuable for malicious actors. If you haven't already picked up that information, you probably are fairly new to the group. So like we said, the MyFitnessPal is from 2018. If you don't already have that list in your system there. Yeah, timed update rock you, right, MZ. Yeah, exactly. Do we know anyone who would use Canva to make graphics that include sensitive company info? It wouldn't surprise me to see marketing or sales people using Canva for, marketing kit or secret project kind of shit. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time you've seen something like that. So potentially you get somebody's, sales contact info that way. Not every company has graphic artists and designers on retainer to be able to do that. So like myself, my own logo is just a quick and dirty in Canva with some AI stuff. So, Canva sold the crap out of the address I used with them. I wouldn't be surprised by that if they did. Even though I did pay for their yearly subscription because it was probably some of the best, time that I've ever done. It made me feel like I was actually creative at that point. Canva being able to go, I can just drop and do this, and I can add a fancy ass background, and I added some weird fonts. Made me feel like I was an artist or something. So yeah. So anyway, if you can grab a hold of it, I'm sure it's available somewhere online. If you live in those circles, you probably know how to gain access to that. Are you using a plus email to track that or some specific account? Yeah, I want to do that, but it's just a pain in the ass to remember to do the plus thing. So I have if it's something that I know is super spammy, I have a Yahoo account that I've been using for the past 18 years for spam. And every once in a while, I'll go in there and look to see if, something other than Cialis and Viagra ads are in there. But yeah, I tend to not use my mains for things that will be potentially, spammy. And actually, Google Gmail is actually really good at blocking a lot of that stuff. So I don't have the luxury of my own mail server. So yeah, I do use Google Workspaces for that though. There's a database of assigned addresses. Okay. So here's one other thing before we go. This came from, I want to say this came from Reddit. I saw this. So they said, Bleeping Computer ran a story. So here is the story. 150,000 WordPress sites at takeover risk by a vulnerable plugin. And this is the Word Mailer WordPress plugin email delivery tool by 300,000 websites. They say that this impacts all versions up to 2.87. And so I don't think they issued a retraction or anything here. So, and you can go and read this article in case, you're like, oh my God, we use WordPress and we use that plugin. There's some light here. It's not all doom and gloom. So this I found was interesting. They said many CVE records are listing the wrong versions of software as being affected. Now, as somebody who lived in the vulnerability management world, still do for some intents and purposes, and we report on it quite a bit here. It's like, patch your Cisco shit, everything from, version 9.12.15 to, forever ago, is vulnerable. So they say right here, this issue, all versions of plugin up to 2.8.7. They said this isn't true. Feature that was connected was only added in 2.7.0, which I have come up with this in the past. I have worked at a defense contractor that, this kind of thing right here would drop. And it's like, there's a vulnerability in this plugin up to 2.87. And then it's like, you have to go and search for these things. And you find out, this kernel version that we're using is so old that the vulnerability isn't even in that version yet. So this was a long time ago. not anytime recent. But I have had systems where I was like, okay, we can't patch that, or oh, we're using this old kernel version because, and okay. And you'll find out that, oh, well, our kernel version or the library that we're using is so old that this vulnerability didn't even exist in it. But what they were trying to say is that there's, and maybe that's what they're trying to say, that it's hard to say, the idea is you're supposed to patch your stuff, right? So, as long as you're up to 2.8.8, then you're fine. But, if you're using an older version, let's say you're using 2.6.9 because the WordPress template you're using wouldn't work with that version, so you're stuck at 2.6.9. You're technically safe, but it does require you to do some research to understand, when that was put in. And for teams that, can't patch after a certain point, you kind of need to know those things. So yeah, here's a word fence. Okay, so word fence is the problem here. Word fence is an organization or a company that is allowed to create records in the CVE system, and they issue CVE IDs. So according to data by Jerry Gamblin, one of the most prolific CVE issuers, another one is WordPress provider WPScan. Okay. They don't determine which versions are vulnerable. They list all CVE data, all versions that are vulnerable. Yeah, that would cause some problems. It's uncommon to find that fixed vulnerabilities haven't actually been fixed, right? The lack of accuracy seems like it should cause CVE to restrict providers like that from accessing their system. I guess it's easier just to say, as long as you're patched up to the most latest version. That's the easy way of saying it. If you're not up to 2.8.8, then you're missing, like if you're stuck on 2.6.9 for some reason, or you're stuck on 2.5.7, and you need to be up to 3.7.6 or something. But you can't because some developer has coded, there's a myriad of reasons why you can't patch something, which is why you put in mitigations, proactively to say, okay, well, we know the limitations of not patching for this vulnerability, so we need to add something to our WAF to sanitize HTTP inputs, or we need, whatever. This is why I get stuck in rabbit holes on CTFs for some CVE's bad info. Maybe MC, I don't know. But this is just one example here, but it would be interesting to see if there's any others. We have suggested CVEs. They provide a method for reporting inaccurate affected version information. Interesting. So this is, as if we don't have enough problems with vulnerability management, because scanners like Qualys and Nessus and is Nessus still a thing? I don't know. Qualys, all of the other ones, they take the CVEs as gospel, right? They themselves won't question it. It's from CVE, so it's okay, cool. Last time I used Nessus, they were trying to get us to buy some bullshit cloud thing, and our CISO was like, yeah, we're not putting all of our vulnerability information and where we're all vulnerable up into a cloud. We last I heard, they were still trying to figure out issues with that. Hey, General Isimo FTW69. Welcome to hang out with us today. So yeah, from a vulnerability management point of view, from MC's CTF problem there, what if you're running a version, a lot of times patches are backported. What if your company is good enough that you can backport patches, or you can go in and you can fix, you're actually doing the needful, and you're going in and you're auditing your packages, and you actually have the source code, and you're like, oh, well, I found this vulnerability here. So yeah, claiming that versions of software are vulnerable when they are not can cause significant headaches for those using the software, right? Because what does security people tell people? Just patch, right? And because CVE said so, right? And it's starting to make me think maybe we need to go and look at some of these things. I'm not saying that every organization should run old software. I'm just saying sometimes you need to worry about impact. Sometimes you need to worry about what it will do when you patch that thing. It's, it's like going back to the Java problem. It's like we need to upgrade from Java 1.6 to 1.8 because 1.6 is being deprecated. I know it's at like 1.18 or some shit now anyway, but there were times when I was like, hey, developers, we need to move from 1.6 to 1.8. Oh, we can't do that. We've coded a bunch of shit to, specific libraries that exist in 1.6. And we're like, not much I can do about that. So yeah, just something, if you want to go and read up a little bit more on this, maybe, post this out to your folks. Anyway, I'm sorry everybody who showed up late. This will be on VOD. This will be on our YouTube channel. But I have to go to dinner. I will do my utmost to try to make it on Friday. I don't see anything that would cause me to not be here on Friday, and we'll do some YAR rules. I was looking at, we've got some training here on malware discussions, reverse engineering for everyone. So we may run through some of these things. And I'm really trying to get the confidence up to actually do some RP stuff online here to get away from that. Yes, I'm checking the time because I'm sure that my wife is like, where the hell's Brian? So just want to give everybody a shout out there. And let's see if... I can't type for nothing. Cool. So Pwn College. I've never raided Pwn College before. So raid Pwn College. There you go. All right. Hope everyone has a good rest of their night, rest of their week. I should be back on Friday. I don't see any reason why I shouldn't be. So take care and be safe and stay warm and stay dry. All right. See you.